Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is June 19th. It is raining outside, and I want to be home reading a book, but I'm here with you because I love you. Let's talk knives. First knife on the table is the much anticipated Benchmade Narrows. So when you look at it from the side profile, it is very folder-esque. It fits in the hand, it's a nice size. Choke up, choke back, whatever you're gonna do, it's a pocket knife, and we love it. But this one has the super slim titanium handles with these little pockets milled out, and quite a bit of milling on the inside too, keeping the weight all the way down to the absolute minimum, and the thickness down to the minimum. Sort of the gold standard of slim, lightweight, everyday carry is the bug out. And here's it next to a bug out. Look how incredibly thin that is. No liners, some interesting tricks they pulled off with the axis lock to keep it the way they did. They've done such a good job with this Narrows. And it is a little bit of a spendy one. It's $522, but that's getting you USA made build quality, Benchmade's warranty, and this is a feat of manufacturing engineering. I will tell you that right now. It is something else. It is on a different level from a lot of Benchmade axis locks. I kind of miss the Anthem, which came out a long time ago, and it was their integral axis lock. But I think for everyday use, I would pick the Narrows over the Anthem. I know that's a hot take, let me have it in the comments, but I really like the Narrows. Next up, we have a Benchmade bug out. This is from their fresh new colorways. This one's the Crater Blue one, so you kind of got this FDE blade with this blue handle. I really like this colorway, and I'm very excited to see it on the shootout. In fact, our videographer is like, I need a shootout, but I'm gonna wait for the Crater Blue because it's such a sweet color. I really like it. I think sometimes blue ends up being a little bright, but this is sort of more subdued, almost like a dark wash jeans sort of blue. And I like it how it matches the thumb stud as well. I'm very excited to see these things. These ones go for $180, and these are limited runs. They are only available this year, so if you see it and you like it, I would advise picking it up sooner than later because it will be gone. Next up, we have two from Petrified Fish, and I know this new knives has kind of become the Petrified Fish show, but these two are very special. Petrified Fish does a lot of liner locks, but this one is a button lock. This is the Grow, and it goes for $48.95. And let me just break down some of the stats for you on this. You got a very nice button lock action, thumb stud or flipper, a kind of a recessed button, and look at all this milling on the G10, and then look at this pocket clip. It is an internally mounted, so if you want to pull the pocket clip off, you have to take the scale off and come in and get the screw from the back, and it's a fully milled pocket clip. So you're getting a lot of extra milling, not just a slab G10, a slick action, very nice build quality. Blade steel is K110, so it's the Bowler equivalent of D2, and a milled pocket clip, all for under 50 bucks. I don't know that you're going to find a much more premium knife for the price. This thing feels really, really good. And oh man, it's killing it. Petrified Fish, they come out with a lot of new stuff and they don't have really big drops. It's kind of like a slow trickle throughout the year, but the stuff they make is really good. And the next one is the one I fell in love with. For those of you who know me, I'm a fixed blade guy, and I always liked the Beluga design, but this is the Beluga fixed blade. A nice stout piece of N690 and like a contoured G10 handle and these very overbuilt pins. And it comes with extra pins too. That's one thing I should mention about Petrified Fish is they all come with extra hardware in the box. So you don't have to be afraid of losing it. Like if you take apart your knife to clean it and you lose a screw, it's not the end of the world. You have extras right there. And the same goes for this fixed blade. And then this Kydex sheath. In heaven, all Kydex is like this. Look, it's a nice slim taco style, very big thumb ramp, comes out, solid snap, no rattle. Well done, Petrified Fish. I'm thinking of this as like a hunting knife. It's got a huge handle. It's not like so big, but if you have like really big hands like Dallas does, it'll fit right in there. Great carving, great nice tall, slicey, flat grind, and a deep belly. Solid hunting knife, and $89.95. That's a really awesome package for that price. Petrified Fish, keep up the good work. Next up, new from Kershaw, we have the Leek in Magna Cut. So I just checked, this variant is actually sold out with the black blade, but you can get the stone-washed blade. The stone-washed blade goes for $130, $129.95. The black one, when it's in stock, goes for $134.95. These are USA made, Ken Onion design, and it's kind of got this like fade to black handle, which I think really looks nice. It's the assisted action that has been popular for more than a decade now, and it's just great with MagnaCut. I'm in love. Next up from Wear Knives, we have production knives. So these are known for their custom brand, but this is production. This is the Wolf P. It's got an M390 blade and this milled titanium handle. We have a bunch of different color variants of these, but they are premium knives. And what I love about them is this hollow grind. It's like a distal taper, so it gets a little bit deeper towards the end here, and that gives this belly a slicing superpower. It just glides through what you're cutting. And I love the design. I was talking to the Instagram guy here, Aaron, and this section, he said, that's a little thin for me, but I thought if you kind of hold it like this, it locks your middle finger into that groove and it pushes the edge forward. Super good for cutting. And I don't know, I really like the design of it. I know that some people don't care for the super slim cross section here, but I think it looks great. It gives the knife a nice hourglass shape. Anyway, I really like this. These go for, well, this particular one goes for $385. Price can vary depending on what coating and what anodize you have, but a really solid knife. And then last on the table, we have another premium CRKT model. This is the LCK Plus. So this is a lurch design, and this one, much like the LCK you've seen before, runs on a nice bearing action, super smooth, super light, but this one has this shred carbon fiber handle and a CPM S35 VN blade. And I gave a bit of a spiel last week on CRKT premium knives. I think they are very good and definitely to be trusted. And I am in love with this one because look how absolutely wicked that point is. It'll just bite through paper or plastic or whatever you're cutting all day long. And it might even process your proteins, if you catch my drift, for those tactical knives. And those go for $175, and you can get them all right now at bladehq.com. That's a lot of new knives for the week. Let us know what you like. If you like content like this and you want to see more knife stuff, just subscribe below. We put out a lot of stuff. Our shorts are killing it right now. You should check some of those out too. Anyway, with that, we'll see you next time. Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is July 3rd, 2023, and tomorrow, America turns 247 years old. Almost as old as the president. Let's talk knives. First knife on the table is the 100% USA-made new Benchmade Shootout. Now this one features the same Crewwear blade you've come to know and love, but this one has the sort of FDE Cerakote and this Crater Blue handle. And the Crater Blue comes from the inspiration of the Crater Lake. So if you've ever been up to Oregon and seen Crater Lake, one of the most beautiful bodies of water in the world, and they sort of adopted the color and made this FRN handle out of it. And in classic Shootout fashion, feather light, somehow they managed to bed the rails in the FRN here, and it makes for a very light and very smooth operating OTF. It's built like a tank, and in classic Benchmade black class fashion, it is designed for tactical applications. But I think this is a great EDC OTF as well, simply because the action is so smooth and so fidgety. The knife itself is so light and easy to operate. It looks nice too, and I just love me that blue. Anyway, those are going for $315, and we also have a gray version as well that just came in. I'm still waiting out for the Mesa Red version. I think that one's the best looking of the new ones from SHOT Show this year, but this Crater Blue is here, and I know that a lot of you have been excited for that one, so pick these up fast. Next up is the Giant Mouse Rio, and this was announced at Blade Show. And what I find most intriguing about this is, first of all, the MagnaCut blade steel. It's gonna have great edge retention. It's gonna have the toughness that you've come to expect of MagnaCut, and of course the corrosion resistance. And then look at this micarta handle. They have done a lot of machining to it. Sometimes with micarta, they sort of just rely on the natural grippiness of the material and they give you a flat surface. But sometimes I like to see a little bit of this knurling like they've done here. And then a brass backspacer, so it's gonna age with the micarta as well. There's a few other handle material variants, but all of them are gonna have this MagnaCut blade, and these are going for $195. And so if you haven't heard, Giant Mouse tends to name their knives after bars, and so this one's after the Rio bar in, what is it, Lansing, Michigan? And the Rio was a car company that made the Speedwagon, and then some group decided that they wanted to make a band out of that. I mean, I don't know. I don't listen to music from century. Anyway, moving right along, we have the new Flytanium Universal Pocket Clips, if I can hold on to it. So these are titanium pocket clips. They come in black, stonewashed, and bead blasted. And this whole pattern is kind of interesting because it has an elongated hole in each direction. And that allows it to fit a multitude of Spyderco knives, Benchmade knives, and then it can squeeze onto some others too. You can probably throw it on an Ontario, a lot of Emersons. And pocket clips are one of the most consumable parts of a knife because if it's exposed, you can snag it on your seatbelt, you can snag it on a door, on a table, or whatever, and you'll break your pocket clip. But for those of you out there, in fact, I'm willing to make a bet right now. If you have a collection of 10 or more pocket knives, I'm willing to bet that this pocket clip will fit on at least one of them. I think that's accurate. I think that's true. Let me know in the comments if you think there's one that won't. Unless you have a lot of knives with no clips. I know that some of you traditional guys like to just keep it in the pocket. We can talk more about that later. Next up, new from Nabalis, we have the Lightning. In classic Nabalis fashion, this one is an affordable butterfly flipper, and this one has bushings as well. So I know that a lot of hardcore flippers out there are very big into bushings, and you might be making a convert out of me. I think I like the bushings more than the bearings as well. But this one's bushings, and it's going for $44.99, and it's giving you a bit more of a different design from the Volp that you've come to know and love. And then it's got the Nabalis branding right across the handle there, which is, I think looks nice. I don't know how to look at it properly, but Nabalis. These are great, but they are also moving into a bit of a higher end space as well. This one's got the milled channel aluminum with this simple finish, but this one is going for $119. This is the Trident, and this one has that milled aluminum bedding and then these really nice textured G10 overlays, still on bushings, nicely tuned, and this thing feels quite a bit more premium, I would think, and you would hope it would when it costs $119. But I am really enjoying Nabalis's stuff. Look at the laser cutouts of this blade. And you can kind of see the trident going on right here. It is a very good looking butterfly knife. And then they have the bottle opener here. And what I really appreciate about the bottle opener is on blades like this, sometimes when they're perfectly symmetrical, you don't know what the bite handle and what the safe handle is, but they put theirs right here. And that way, if you're about to give yourself a ring of shame, so to speak, which is where you try and do a chaplain around your finger with the edge, you just cut a giant ring around your finger. This one has a little bit of a corner here, so it'll never actually cut you. It's a true trainer, but if you try to do that, it will remind you very quickly that this is not the edge of the knife that you want to be playing with, which I think is critical in a trainer. And I love that Nabalis has taken the steps and made the effort to make sure that their trainers teach you the proper habits for using a full size and real live edged butterfly knife. Next up in the fixed blade world, we have the Bradford Guardian 3. Now you've seen these before, but this is the first time I've seen this white and black G10 handle, and I just love the looks of it. This one's got an AEBL blade. So if you haven't heard of Bradford knives, they are made in the USA. They're like a family shop. They do really great grinds. They use an eclectic array of steels, and you can get them from some of the more affordable steels all the way up through the fancy M390s, Magna Cuts, etc. Very nice fixed blades for everyday carry. In fact, some have said these are the gold standard of everyday carry fixed blades because, let's see, what am I carrying in my pocket? I got a Weed Trogon today. It is just about the same size as a folder, but they come with this rad horizontal leather sheath. So you just pass your belt through there and you tuck your knife in and it just vanishes. You'll never feel it, you'll never notice it until you need it, and you just hook your pinky right in your hand, ready to get cutting. I really appreciate Bradford's, and it is about time I got me one. Next up, new from K-Bar and from Ethan Becker, we have the BK19 Nesmuk. So it uses the same handle pattern that you see on the BK16 and the Harpoon that came out recently, but this one has the Nesmuk blade style. And if you haven't heard of this, this was a blade style named after George W. Sears, who went for his entire life writing for Field and Stream under the pen name Nesmuk. And he is one of the fathers of modern day backpacking. And his blade style that he built with this kind of hump along the back, well, as you have a nice deep belly with a nice strong tip, gives you great slicing performance, great through wood, great for hunting, fishing, etc. And in his opinion, it was one of the best outdoor knives that you could have. And judging by how many knives like this one sort of take the modern materials and build, but still use that iconic blade shape, you know that blade shape meant something. And true outdoorsmen and women have proven this blade shape for a while, and I'm just very excited to see it come to a K-bar, especially under the master ergonomic tutelage of Ethan Becker. And I'm just really excited for that. And this sheath, look at this sheath. K-bar generally does like a nylon sheath, but recently with these Becker designs, they've been doing these nice snappy polymer sheaths. You can just swap this around, make it lefty if you want, carry it upside down. It's a really great merging of the worlds, because I would say a sheath like this tends to be more of a tactical feature, but this knife feels to be more of a bushcrafty vibe. I think it mixes well. Ethan Becker is a true master of his craft, and he's made a lot of great knives in his day. If you are looking for outdoor knives, do not discount the Ethan Becker line from K-bar. Next up in the everyday carry world, we have the Viper Veil. So these ones were announced at SHOT Show, and I held them there, and I held them again here, and I fell in love all over again. So if you look, this one's got this wooden handle, and I love this texture they've done. It's got these horizontal milling marks that grab your hand just right, so if you're like bearing down on the knife, it's going to prevent your hand from sliding up onto the edge, and that allows you to have a fairly small flipper and this nice finger choil. So if you want to make some really precise cuts, you can. It's got a Magna Cut blade. This one's got the wood handle, but it comes in some micartas, even a purple carbon fiber. Purple haze, is that what they're calling it? Yeah. I really am enjoying the different materials they're using. And I think wood is one of those materials that kind of gets forgotten in the everyday carry world. We're getting so focused on the metals and the laminates that we've forgotten our roots in wood, and wood knives are the ones that built the world. Wood-handled knives built the world. So you don't need to be afraid of their durability or anything. If you just carry it in your pocket every single day, just your use is gonna be plenty to protect it, and that will give you sort of the added benefits of wood, being super light, very moldables. Like if you find that your hand doesn't fit the knife just perfectly, you can just go in with some sandpaper and you can make perfect grooves to fit your knife perfectly. I really appreciate that customizability of wood handles. Next up, for a very modern take, we have the new Bestech Mothus. I saw this one at SHOT Show as well, and what I really appreciate is look at the milling on this titanium, and then this bar lock is so smooth. Opens, has a nice sound to it, locks up just perfectly in every direction, and I know that's something that's kind of difficult to pull off with these bar locks. It's a nice milled titanium pocket clip, a very clean, sleek in the pocket carry, but when it's open, it fills out your hand very nicely. Sort of a gentleman's knife that you could do some hard work with. And I really appreciate the pricing on them. These vary from as low as $297 all the way up to $339. And if you're looking at some of those USA-made titanium M390 blades, this price is something to be reckoned with. And I really, really appreciate what Bestech has been pulling off lately with these bar locks. And if that's a little steep for you, check out the Ronin. That one we talked about a few months ago. It's like 50 bucks and it is on point. Bestech has figured out the bar lock. Next up, we have the Sencut Serene. And I picked this red one because my goodness, does that pop. What a beautiful red. And then this one has been very popular as of late. Firstly, because it's very affordable, $46.95, and an absolutely buttery smooth action. Great sound, thumb stud it, flip it. Let's see if I can Spidey flick. Ooh, I got it. I really like this one. A very nice deep carry pocket clip. It is an EDC powerhouse from the get-go, especially for its price. Sencut, guys, they are really killing it this year. And then next up, we have the SBR fixed blade. This is our exclusive with the Jade G10 handle and the S35BN blade. We've talked about this one before, so I'll kind of gloss over some of the features. It's got this nice horizontal texture, kind of like we saw on the Viper Veil. That's classic to a lot of Les George knives. And then a nice slicey blade here. And I think this is a great hunting knife or a great everyday carry fixed blade. Comes in a nice Kydex sheath, snaps, and I like how ProTech threw a Spyderco G-clip on there. A lot of times knife companies don't want to touch the other knife companies, but I really appreciate about ProTech and Chris Reeve is they both will mention other companies that really complement their product. In this case, the Spyderco G-clip. And if you look at Chris Reeve's website, it says use a Spyderco sharp maker to sharpen your knife. And I really admire that about some of these companies who are willing to see the benefits of others. And then lastly, we have the Viper Knives Vulpes. So this is a series of knives slash multi-tools that kind of are in the Swiss Army knife size. And I think like these are just right for me because I can get 3 fingers on there, I can do some work. It's a lot larger than the keychain Swiss Army knives you've seen, but smaller than the full-size pocket ones. And these ones come in a bunch of different varieties, all the way from 1 blade up to a blade, a saw, scissors, this package opener, can opener, and this wire stripper. Like, it's a Swiss Army knife, but built in Italy to a bit of a different market, I should say. And these ones, I'm most impressed by the price. So if you want like the full toolkit, titanium handles and an M390 blade, it's $92.54. And if you want the basic N690 aluminum handle, just a blade, it's like less than $30. These are very well built tools using much more premium materials than you see on a lot of knives of this style. And they're coming in at very competitive pricing. So check out the the Fox Vulpes series, and you will not be disappointed. Anyway, that is a whole lot of knives we just talked about. Check out all of these and more at bladehq.com. There will be links in the description, and we will see you on the next one. Precise control and getting right there, and it's nice and easy to sharpen too. But some people, especially those with a bit chubbier fingers, were gripping the knife where you're supposed to, and this little piece of meat in the finger was running up to the edge. People would cut themselves. So Bradford Larkin, the magnificent man he is, listened and saw the problem and fixed it. So if you've got some of those bigger fingers and the Bradford Guardian 3 is one that might cut you, the 3.2 is here to help you out. And this one comes with a MagnaCut blade, because why not? If you're gonna make an awesome knife, make it extra awesome. Yeah, this is a very exciting knife, and it is going for $179 right now. A lot of it is still the same from the original Guardian 3 series. You're gonna love everything about it. Check it out right now. That changes on price depending on what handle material you're going with, but this particular one is $179. Next up from Finch Knives, we have the Finch Shiv. And this one, like the blade reminds me of a swayback blade. And the handle, I'm kind of getting that, but I mean, you hear the name Shiv, and I mean, we all know what this is for. I won't get into it, but this is the Shiv. Super light, super flicky action, 14C 28N blade, skeletonized steel liners, milled pocket clip here on the back. Very slick everyday carry knife. And if you have ever used your keys to open a package, you know that something a lot like this will help you even more, because keys are nature's shiv, one could call them. In fact, you see people who will put their keys between their knuckles in sketchy parts of the neighborhood. This will open your packages even better than your keys, if you catch my drift. These are going for $79 at bladehq.com right now. Check website for current pricing. Next up, we have the Giant Mouse Nimbus V3. So the Nimbus V3 is a few updates from the original Nimbus series. Some of them are ergonomic, some are milling in the liners and all that, but the big update, the elephant in the room here, is this MagnaCut blade steel. I called it once in an article that 2023 was going to be the year of MagnaCut, and for once my prophecy was correct. MagnaCut is in all facets of the knife world now, and it is here to stay. And you'll see it on great knives like this Nimbus V3. I love the Nimbus because its edge is kind of swept up. So that way, if you're gonna cut against a table, say you're like cooking food at the campsite, it's gonna be nice and easy to keep your knuckles clear of the board and still have plenty of room to cut stuff. So it's a great camp knife. It's a great everyday carry knife. If you prepare your own apple at lunch or whatever. Excellent, excellent, well done build from Giant Mouse. This goes for $215 right now. And it's great. Love the wire clip too, reversible for all you lefties out there. And the last on the table, we have 2 new variations of the CJRB Pyrite that we've all come to know and love. The first is the reverse Tanto version. And this one has another special update. It has a thumb hole opener instead of a thumb stud. And I really appreciate that because that gives you a bit more slicing capabilities. Because on thumb studs, say on this Slashkin, I mean, this one actually is pretty well done too because they backed it up to the edge. But if you're cutting this way, you can run into the thumb stud if you're cutting something big like an apple, or if you're batoning wood or something. But this one, no trouble at all. You're not gonna run into it, you have a nice finger hole. Many people prefer thumb studs, I generally do. I find them easier to actuate, but I appreciate that they're looking out for you thumb hole guys out there too. And then also we have the large pyrite. So this is the same handle as the original pyrite here on this one. They have blown it up quite a bit. So a lot of people have the pyrite and they're like, this is great. I just want a little bit more edge. I want a little bit more meat. I want something I can take camping. I want something I can take hunting. Something that can take a little bit more of the beating. And that's where the large pyrite comes in. And my goodness, does this thing feel good. The finger choil is big enough to actually choke up in. You've got a really long blade. What a nice knife. Really well done. These are going for $69.95. So in classic CJRB fashion, very affordable pricing. Anyway, that's new knives for the week. We hope you've enjoyed. Let us know what you like in the comments. Subscribe to see more knife content. We'll see you next time. Welcome to Blade HQ. Today is July 31st, 2023, and we're going to talk about some new knives. Let's get into it. First knife on the table is the new Arcform Saber. And this one I very much enjoy. It's a bit of a different design. It kind of reminds me of a jelly bean. But in the hand, it kind of pushes the edge just a little bit forward, gives you a nice cutting performance. A 20 CV blade, a thumb hole opener. This one's got the micarta handles, and I believe this is an Ultim backspacer. You can see it kind of illuminates like Ultim does. I generally think Ultim unilluminated looks kind of dull, but once you put some light in it, very nice. Winnie the Pooh vibes. So I guess this would be the perfect knife for the 100-acre wood. Love it. These go for $160, and I think if you want the full Ultim handles, it'll be a little bit more. But great knives all around. Next up, new from Glow Rhino, we have the Fermi. And I really appreciate this for a few reasons. First of all, its price. It goes for $99.99, so it's a great deal on a knife from Glow Rhino. These ones have tritium inlays on the front, on the back, and in the pocket clip. So if it's dark out, we'll see if we can make it dark in the B-roll, you can see all of these sections glow, which I think is really cool because a lot of times people are like, don't carry a black knife because if you drop it in the dark, you'll never find it. Well, this way you can have your cake and eat it too. You can have a black knife that looks good, you can drop it in the dark and it'll glow like it always did. Great knife all around, D2 blade steel, and I love this pocket clip too. If you look here, the pocket clip has a recessed screw setup and recessed pocket clip itself. So a completely uninterrupted glide into your pocket. Nice action on the thumb studs, fairly small, fairly unobtrusive design. It's a great everyday carry pocket knife, and I am in love with tritium. Now this one has this like red tritium around the middle here. You can get it with a bunch of different other colors as well. So whatever color suits your fancy, there's a Glow Rhino Fermi to help you out. And for $100, you can't go wrong. Next up, new from Lion Steel, we have the Nano. And the Nano is sort of the brother of the N1, which was announced this year at SHOT Show. And the N1 I really respect. It is just like the Nano, except all of the hardware is concealed. You can't see any screws from the outside, and you have to do some wizardry with tools to open up the knife. But this one is just like that, but it has a bunch more accessible hardware. So accessible, in fact, that it includes this little tool. And this tool allows you to fully disassemble the knife. It's got the right Torx heads, and then this center thing is a wrench that you can use to pull off this little cap on the back. So if you want to rotate the pocket clip or just remove the pocket clip altogether, you can do that. Very clean action, very clean knife. And I know that in parts of the world, one-hand opening knives are illegal. And Lion Steel has you covered with this removable flipper. So you just take your tool right here, and you just go into this little socket right here on the flipper tab, and you can pull the flipper right off, and then this becomes a two-hand knife with this nail nick right here. Very cool design. And Lion Steel just makes such good knives. I cannot say enough good things about Lion Steel. In fact, one of my favorite knives of all time is one of their fixed blades. Anyway, enough raving about Lion Steel. Next up, new from Squid Industries, we have the Crake Raken V3. And I am not super informed as to what the updates are. I've heard there's some finer tuning in the pivot, and I will say this has quite a bit less blade play than many butterfly knives on the market. Very nice. I love the sound of a Crake Raken. I love it. These things flip so well. They're probably the most competitive butterfly knives out there. So if you're wanting to go to Bally Comp and show the world your epic skills, the Crake Raken V3 may give you the best chance of doing it. These have AEBL blades. You can get them with the clip point or the Tanto. I personally prefer the Tanto. And they go for $249.99. And is that blue just not super pretty? Look at that. Just absolutely gorgeous coloring. I might get the one that has the milled after anodized in the middle, so it glows like the white pop of the white aluminum underneath. And people are always like, tactical colors, earth tones, all that. But butterfly knives, you're there to be cool, so it's like a fancy race car. Sure, you can make it earth tones or make it blend with the pavement, or you can make it super awesome and colorful because that's just cool. What I love about butterfly knives. Next up, new from Gerber, we have the Scout. And this one has the crossbar lock, has a micarta handle and a 440A blade going for $54.95. Very nice knife all around. The blade steel is gonna be very easy to sharpen and it's gonna be very tough. So I would think this would be an excellent camp knife because it's fairly small and light. So if you're going on a hike, it's not gonna give you any trouble. But when it's open, that micarta handle just holds the hand so nicely. And then pocket clip vanishes into your palm. Great knife, excellent ergonomics, smooth action. And look at these studs on the lock here. They have these knurled sides to them, so it's gonna be so easy to grab, even if you have gloves. It's standing nice and proud, but the way they made it, it makes it so that it just rides right in this little crook of your hand here. So it's not gonna give you any hot spots, and that's one thing that a lot of people are concerned about with crossbar style locks. But this knife is gonna be great for carving or skinning or whatever else you're doing outdoors. But it'd be a great everyday carry knife too. Great emergency knife as well. It's got a nice glass breaker here on the back. And it doesn't have the seatbelt cutter you'll see on a lot of those emergency knives. But personally, I mean, I find that the edge of your knife does plenty. I've only had a need to cut a seatbelt in emergency once, and I had my SE Zancudo on me and it did the job just fine. Next up, we have the Doughboy Whole Enchilada. So this is a 3D printed thing. It's a lot like the strop they made a little while ago. Let's see if I can get this to work. Don't break the PLA, George. There it goes. I'm trying to slide it on the wrong side. This is a strop, but the whole enchilada factor is you can pull it up, pull the strop up, and you can store some stuff, maybe a cleaning cloth or some other small thing. And you have a diamond sharpening stone at 600 grit. So you can take your knife from dull to sharp, all with the whole enchilada here. And it has this new texture on the side as well. One thing that people weren't a huge fan of on a lot of 3D printed objects is when they are super slick on the side, they want to slide out. But these ones, they have this texturing. They gave it a name that I will not repeat here on the YouTube channel because it is PG-13 and we're a family show here. But if you want to learn, just pick one up, it's on the box. It'll tell you all about it. These are really great, and I love that they use the word enchilada because I think this fits perfectly with the NAF's tool burrito. Just slip this right into one of those pockets, and you got a sharpener and a strop, and then you have some Torx bits, a bunch of other stuff. You can have a very nice comprehensive knife maintenance kit, a nice small package, with both an enchilada and a burrito, because Mexican food belongs literally everywhere. Next up, we have the QB Destroyer. QB Destroyer? Tell me how to pronounce that, I'm not sure. And this is a kukri. So for those of you who aren't familiar, the kukri was originally designed by the Gurkhas in Nepal, and their knives are used for woodcraft, farming, and they earned their fame in their prowess in war, in the world wars in Vietnam and Korea. But this one's sort of the Americanized version, has a D2 blade, has this handle that fits my hand just perfectly. It locks it in just great, so you're not gonna miss anything. And in classic kukri fashion, it's got this deep recurve, giving you a lot of weight here near the tip. And that makes it almost hatchet-like when you're chopping. But then this area down here is nice and easy to carve with. It kind of glides into feather sticking and that sort of thing. And then a very nice snappy Kydex sheath with a tech lock on the back. Excellent everyday carry. Excuse me, this is not an everyday carry knife. But if it is, if you everyday carry a kukri, let me know. Rock on, buddy. But I would call this an outdoor camping style knife. Sort of a one tool option around the campsite. These go for $44.95 too. And for that much D2 steel and this good of a Kydex sheath, that's a really good deal. Oftentimes, just a Kydex sheath of this quality will go for around 40 bucks. But for 45, you get the whole knife. Very exciting, check these out. Next up, new from Opinel, is perhaps the least Opinel I have ever seen. This is the Opinel number 12, and it is sort of an outdoor tool. So you can open the blade. It has the same lock mechanism that Opinels are known for, but look how huge this handle is. If you got massive hands, you can definitely get plenty of room here. The blade locks closed as well. But then let's talk about what's going on in the back here. So first of all, there's a whistle. Loud, whistly. So it's great for signaling and that sort of thing. And there's a little lock mechanism here where you pull this thing up and you can expose this like seat belt or rope cutter, maybe a gut hook. And then if you go right in the middle, you can pull this thing out. And this is a tick puller. My mother is from Florida, and she's like, just pour kerosene on them, they'll come right out. But if you're not into covering the areas ticks tend to hang out in kerosene, maybe grab a tick puller like this one. It'll probably net you a lot less discomfort in the end. Very cool knife. These are going for $49, but what interesting Opinels. Opinels are an old French company. They've been around forever. They were the knives Picasso used to prepare his canvases and that sort of thing. But you can also get a cool, like overbuilt camping variety of Opinel. Very exciting, check those out. They come in a few different colors. And last on the table, we have the Blade HQ exclusive Ohlone Goat AXL. So Ohlone knives are made in the Pacific Northwest, or headquartered in the Pacific Northwest at least. And the Ohlone tribe is from there. And this knife definitely fits their style, which is a very clean everyday carry knife that also looks good. So these are the exclusive ones. They have jade and black or black and jade, so you can get it either way. This one goes for $265, has an M390 blade, and it is super slick in the action, very nice in the hand, a great big knife too. So if you're looking for something with a lot of cutting power, a lot of slicing performance, the Ohlone Goat AXL is very good. Anyway, that's new knives for the week. Let us know what you like. Subscribe to see more knife content. We'll see you next time. Welcome to Blade HQ, everybody. Today is July 10th, 2023, and we are talking about new knives. Let's get into it. First knife on the table is the new from We Knives Big Banter with the Jade G10 handle and the 20 CV blade. What I love about the Big Banter is this is a Ben Peterson design, for in case you didn't know. Ben Peterson used to be here at Blade HQ, and now he runs a company called NAFS, making a lot of cool knife accessories, and he has the Lander, which is a new knife that's really great. And he also has a few designs that have come out with We Knives. And this one, I'll tell you right now, is not Ben's favorite knife. Ben believes in what he called the finger test, which is where you can pinch the knife and reach the tip with your finger. And as you can see here, you cannot reach the tip with your finger. This thing's huge, and I guarantee you Ben does not carry one. But he made one because he loves us, and he knows that some people, myself included, really do like a nice big knife. And this has the same sort of ergonomic strategy and the same design notes that the original Banter and the Baby Banter have, but it is more built for somebody who likes a big knife, who likes a little bit more edge, length, and the ability to slice a little bit better, maybe the ability to choke up as well. If you like the banter and the baby banter is more, rock on, Ben does too. But I personally like the big banter, and I'm grateful that he made it. And these ones are going for a really great price, especially considering that 20 CV blade of $147.48. Very solid deal. Next up, we have the Civivi Incisor 2. So you may remember the Wii Incisor a little while ago. Wii and Civivi are from the same company. And this one is sort of the budget-friendly version, and it is, well, it's a karambit. And I think personally karambits look kind of evil. They're designed to be held in this reverse grip, so you grab your hand here, and they were developed by the Silat warriors in Indonesia as self-defense knives. Knives that are used in combat, and they are made for very strategic cuts and anatomically damaging cuts. So somebody who is trained with a karambit has a very small tool, but one that is very handy in a sticky situation. So if you are trained in edged combat, or you'd like to be, check out the Incisor 2, because for its price of $119, it's really great. So you can flick it open front hand if you want, if you're gonna like open a box. Has a flipper tab too that doubles as a guard when in use. But I think the way that most people are gonna use it is this little hook right here snags your pocket on the way out, and that opens the blade. So if you just grab it by the index finger, go weak hand if you want over here, just yank it against your pocket, that'll open, and you are right in business. So less than a second on the draw, and it's a great way to defend yourself. And maybe if you're running a handgun in your strong hand, run this in the left or the right, depending on what your weak hand is, and use that as a sort of retention tool. It's really cool. I really love me a good karambit, and this one's really cool with that anodized aluminum handle. It comes in a few different colorways as well. Check the Incisor 2 out today. Next up from CMF Metalworks comes this interesting knife. I'm not exactly sure what the name of this knife is. So CMF Metalworks is a custom knife maker, and I forget what his name is, but he runs a lot of different models. And this one reminds me the most of his Daedalus and his Paladin models, but I am in love with this knife. This blade has such a clean and nice grind to it, and this belly just gets nice and slicey, and that's where the hollow goes even deeper. This thing has superpowers when it comes to gliding through paper. It's an M390 blade, a micarta handle, custom made, and generally with CMF Metalworks, you're getting one-offs. But these are very, very nice. And I am in love, and I'm so happy that we finally have them in quantity so people can sort of get their hands on the work of a master here. These ones are going for $395, so they're a bit spendy, but remember, you are getting some of the best grinding experience out there, very good build quality, and it feels like a CMF custom, but it doesn't cost $1,200 bucks. Next up, from Buck, we have a limited edition Buck Lock, so the 532. So the Buck Lock is this lockback, kind of has a bit more of the traditional vibe. It's not quite as large as the 110 or quite as small as the 112. It's a bit thinner than both of those. And this one is a very premium model that is a limited edition. So once this one's gone, it's gone for good. You got a micarta handle, this copper bolster that becomes these copper liners, and you got the pins that are copper as well, so it all fits very nicely. Smells like pennies, and I love it. And the 154 cm blade as well. So I love to see Buck sort of branching into those more premium steels, because you know that Buck has the chops to heat treat them right. Any steel that you're getting from Buck, you can be rest assured that it is the best of that steel's performance. Because Paul Boss, man's a magical man. One of the best heat treaters on the market. And he has been leading the charge over at Buck. He's retired now, but he's still on contract and he's still making sure they're doing it right. And you see those premium steels, you know, that's nice. Anyway, these limited editions are going for $349.99, USA made, comes with this nice leather sheath. And again, copper bolsters. You don't see them very much, but my goodness, do they look yummy. Next up, we have the Buck 117 Brahma Pro. So the Brahma, I think for lack of a better word, I would call the Mini 119. So the 119 is the big, full-size fixed blade hunting knife based off of the original knives made by Hoyt Buck. However, the Brahma is just right for me. It's quite a bit smaller, so my hand fills out the handle just right. If my hand was much bigger, I might want the larger blade. But then it's got the shorter blade, the narrower blade, and it just fits the hand so well. And the leather sheath it comes with is very nice, but I'd almost think about making a horizontal carry one for the small of the back. I think that would work really well here, and then you still get all of the cowboy vibes that you know and love from that original 119. And this one's the Pro model. So there's the originals of a lot of these Buck fixed blades that have the black, like phenolic resin handles and the 420 blades, but these Pro versions cost a bit more. This one goes for $159.99, and it's got a green micarta handle with a full hidden tang, and then an S35 VN blade. Very, very premium knives. And they are just made so well right here in the USA and backed by Buck's Forever warranty. I love me the Pro series from Buck. Next up, the Concept Main Street bar lock. So we've seen the Main Street before, we've even seen the Little Main Street. I always want to call it the Mini Main Street, and then I am trying to call this one the Mini Main Street. It's a whole thing. There are so many knife names to remember. But the Main Street is a design from Dirk Pinkerton, and it used to come with a liner lock, but now it's got this really fidgety bar lock. And what I love is there's a lot of meat right here in the tip. So not only does that give you a nice strong tip, but it gives your action quite a bit of authority. So when it opens, and it locks it up really nicely. Very smooth action, open and shut. This one's got the micarta handle and a 154 cm blade. I can never remember what the blade steels are. My goodness, there are so many knives out there. But this one's a really cool one. I really like it, and it runs for $79.80. That's what I love about Concept knives, I'll tell you. Their pricing is very fair, in my opinion. Like, you're getting a great knife, but you're not underpaying, so you're not wondering what corners are they cutting, but you're also paying such a good price that you honestly have a hard time saying no to it. I would say in just about every category that Concept makes a knife, there comes a point where you ask yourself, is that knife twice as good as the Concept? And the answer is often no. And that's why I think that brand has come from it's very young, less than 3 years old, I want to say. And it has grown so rapidly since, and I am enjoying their designs quite a lot. And then last on the table, we have the Sharp by Design Mini Evo. And these knives are absolutely incredible. So some of the best machining ever. In fact, at first glance, you might think this was an integral, but it's not. It's just very well put together. And then the action on these is so smooth. And I love the sound because there's two sounds when it comes to opening a flipper. There's the detent being broken. Let's see if I can catch it. You hear that? And then there's the lock engaging. And this one captures both. When you flick it open, you can hear them both. Oh, it's such a good sounding knife. I love me the Evo. And then great materials as well. Titanium, this one's got the Nebula carbon fiber inlay and an M390 blade. Excellent everyday carry knives. Nice and light, but very stylish. I love them. And these ones are going from $365 up through $425, depending on who, what, when, where, why. But very nice everyday carry knives. If you're looking for something quite fancy and bougie, check out these Sharp by Designs. Anyway, that's a lot of new knives for the week. We hope you've enjoyed. Let us know what you like in the comments. Subscribe to see more knife content. We'll see you next time.